Very good morning, sir. I welcome you for this on this platform for this particular event. And the most important one is the inauguration of Student Chapter today. That's
Morning,
really
sir.
a memorable moment for all of us.
Thank you.
Your benign presence will add a lot to this.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Deshmukh.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Yes, very fine. I think you are in the department, Anil Prakash, sir.
Yeah, I am in the department. Only few years, I think 1 and 4 months is left.
Okay. Okay. Slowly approaching toward the free bird.
Yeah. So we have to enjoy
Yes.
each and every time.
Correct. Patankar sir was with you.
Okay. He is,
No, he was with you, isn't it?
no, yeah, he was with me. On I think 15th of this month. 15th.
He told me, he informed me.
Yeah. And we had a very good lecture of him here.
Yes.
Bio innovations and bio entrepreneurship.
Very good. So yesterday's video, have you seen my video?
Yes, sir, we have seen.
Sorry,
What
Doctor, I couldn't, sir.
So please see it.
Yeah, I
watch
will
it.
see. And today there was one news also on MP teachers that we are pursuing for that
Okay.
on newspaper, and they have some make corrections in the list. So I will just ask to the Ajay. अजय को मेरे को आप पूछना पड़ेगा कि क्या उन्होंने चेंजेस किए हैं, तो देन वी विल फिर से उनको मूव करें. लेटर डिफरेंट अगर नहीं बनाना पड़े तो हो सकता है डिफरेंट लेटर बनाना पड़े.
Yes. I talked with the education minister.
Okay.
And he is a very thorough gentleman.
Yeah.
And he is positive toward this problem. Yeah.
Anil Prakash, sir, I'll send you the letter after some corrections today.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think before correcting it, Manish.
Yes, sir.
You just talk to Ajay. I think government of Madhya Pradesh has made some changes in that. So what changes they have made it, we should know.
Okay, sir. Some more documents, sir, I have received.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our professor also joined, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to all of you.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir.
Our chief guest, Professor P.M. Deshmukh and Professor Anil Prakash are also online.
Very good. Welcome to MIT University Madhya Pradesh on virtual platform. And I welcome both of you, Professor Dr. Anil Deshmukh as well as Dr. Anil Prakash. And I think we will go a long way in this workshop, and I think your contribution will be very significant. So most welcome once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we start, sir? I think.
Please go ahead.
Right,
If
sir.
at all all set, then please go ahead.
Yes, our chief guest and special guest both are online, so I think we can start.
Please, please, we can start.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Over to you, MCs. Please start.
Good morning to one and all. We have been listening to eminent speakers deliberating their ideas in the emerging areas of sciences. All these valuable insights gave us a new perspective that one should adopt while discussing these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Professor Dr. Arvind Deshmukh, President, Microbiology Society, India, as a chief guest for the valedictory session. Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. M.P. Kaushik, Dean Academics and Director AIB, Professor Dr. R.S. Tomar. To make this event a blessed one, we invoke Goddess Saraswati by Saraswati Vanna for seeking the choicest blessings.
शुभं कुरुध्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुध्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
May I now request Professor Dr. M.B. Kaushik, Pro Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Gwalior, to kindly address the session. I feel immense pleasure to introduce you, Professor Dr. M.P. Kaushik. Dr. Kaushik has completed his post-graduation from Jivaji University in 1977. Then he joined Defense Research and Development Establishment, Gwalior, to work for his PhD under the supervision of Dr. R. Vaidyanath Swami. This collaboration continued during the time he was a scientist from 1978 to 1986. In 1987, then he moved to the Utah University, Logan, USA, as visiting scientist in Professor Karen W. Moss Group. In 1988, he came back to India and served DRDO in various capacities. In 1993, he became full professor in MITS Gwalior and served there till 1995 as professor and head of chemistry department. In 1995, he rejoined his parent organization and served as a head of process technology development division and as a program director and BC DRDO, and took over as director and outstanding scientist H of Defense R&D Establishment Gwalior, and served there till October 2014. In April 2015, he joined Amity University Gwalior as Pro Vice Chancellor and Professor of Pure and Applied Science. His contribution has been recognized with several awards such as DRDO Cash Award, Defense Technology Spin-off Award, National Technology Award, Technology Group Award DRDO, Scientist of the Year Award DRDO, and Agni Award for the Self-Reliance. Sir has also published 181 research papers in various national and international journals of repute. Please, sir, I request you to kindly address the session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pallavi Singh Chauhan, for kind introduction. At the outset, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Arvind Deshmukh, Dr. Anil Prakash, who could spare their valuable time for the third national workshop comes hands-on training on advanced techniques in molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics. The topic is of immense importance in today's scenario. No doubt by the introduction, whatever introduction Pallavi Singh Chauhan has given about me, that I am not a microbiologist. And I think on the platform, on this panel itself, I think all our microbiologists are very well experts in the field of molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics. But with the limited knowledge which I have, I would like to share some of my thoughts with respect to on the topic itself. What is more important right now is the diagnostics, which is in today's scenario. If at all you see whether it's endemic diseases are there which are spreading quite often in the recent past, as well as pandemic, which is coronavirus. I think every one of you are aware of it, how it has created a havoc, not only in India, but world over. And the workshop on advanced technique in molecular biology and medical biotechnology and industrial microbiology and bioinformatics is very suitable subject in a today's scenario, which I think most of the students need to understand that what kind of different techniques. No doubt, even the laymen today may be knowing some of the names of the technique which are being used for the detection or diagnostics of these microorganism or the disease which are being caused by the microorganism. Now, as far as microorganism is concerned, as I mentioned, that great microbiologists are on the panel itself, and the chief guest is a great microbiologist. The issue with microorganisms are that you can't see, you can't smell, you can't taste them. The difficulty is when you can't see, when you can't smell, you can't taste them, then how do you fight with biological agent? How do you fight with microorganism? This is the important challenge, and this is what exactly is being said, that this is the greatest threat, if at all, that is going to come, that when there's no mechanism of validation, there's no mechanism of verification sometimes, that it takes sometimes a very long time. And when we are not able to detect, diagnose, and smell, then the problems comes. And by the time the damage would have been done, if we can detect it after 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, or 5 days, depending upon the period, incubation period of the microorganism, by the time the damage would have been done to the patients. So in this case, what has happened is, I would like to refer here about Koch postulates. I think all the microbiologists may be aware of it, that Koch, K-O-C-H, is a well-known microbiologist, basically is a physician. And then he started working on this platform on the postulate which came. His name is Heinrich Hermann Robert Koch, and he was the physician, as I mentioned, the German physician and microbiologist, and he was the discoverer. He discovered the deadly infectious disease, including the tuberculosis, which is caused by the bacteria. Similarly, the cholera virus, cholera bacteria, and anthrax. These are the diseases which he could detect. Now, he could discover the different bacterial diseases. And after when he discovered, he was popularly nicknamed the father of microbiology and the father of medical bacteriology. There's a difference. I think for the benefit of this, all the audience, those who are attending this one, there's a basically difference. When we talk about bacteriology, when we talk about virology, bacteriology means we are dealing with the study of bacteria mainly. And when we talk about virology, it means we are studying the study of the various kind of the viruses only. But the gentleman, the Robert Koch, about his postulate, I will be talking a little later. He was the person who, as I mentioned, that he could anthrax bacterium in 1976 is considered as the birth of modern bacteriology, when he discovered the anthrax, that is particular bacteria called Bacillus anthracis. Similarly, so whatever the method he used in microbiology, the method Koch used in bacteriology particularly led to the development of medical concept, and that particular concept is known as the Koch postulates. And I think all microbiologists and all the students, those who are studying in the zoology or have got limited knowledge or some understanding of microbiology, they may be aware of what are the Koch postulates. The microorganism must be detectable in the infected host at every stage of the disease. That is very good. The host for the bacteria have got several kind of stages. So it means in each and every stage, the microorganism or the particular, we are talking here about the bacteria only, should be able to detect at every stage of its development, every stage of its growth. The microorganism must be isolated from the disease host and the grown in pure culture. That is very important. That was one of the challenge. Whenever any epidemic starts or the pandemic starts, the major challenge for the microbiologists to identify, isolate the bacteria That's very important. And then to grow it in culture, because then only you can have the preventive technology, you can have the therapeutic, the methodology we can develop. Unless we do not have the pure virus, pure bacteria, then only, and that can be developed, then you should be able to isolate it, culture it, identify it, and then develop the detection system as well as the protective systems. When susceptible, healthy animals are infected with pathogens from the pure culture and with specific symptoms of the disease may occur. So this is with the pure culture which normally happens, and these are the bacterial disease normally starts with the animals and then it pass on to the human beings. And the another postulate which Koch gave is the microorganism must be re-isolated from the disease animal and correspond to the original microorganism in pure culture. So what I want to say is, again, I'll repeat, when we cannot smell, we cannot taste, and we cannot detect, then and moreover, we have to follow that Koch postulates need to be understood, need to be followed. There are conventional techniques are there, conventional methods are there, which we can detect it or we can do the diagnostics. But what is the difficulty in case of the conventional method? And this is what we faced during COVID also. And then during anthrax also, whenever the anthrax disease was there. And similarly, if viral disease, I talk about over the dengue, the Japanese encephalitis, or any kind of viral disease which normally talk HIV, COVID, smallpox, Ebola. You know, these are the, it means some of the conventional techniques fails to identify the virus as well as the antigen, which is being produced by either the bacteria or by the virus. And what are the difficulties with the conventional techniques? They're slow, less sensitive, laboratory based. It means the sample has to be transported to the laboratory, and the laboratory may take 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. For example, in case of anthrax, which I had some experience, we used to take at least 6 to 7, 8 to 8 hours before we come to the conclusion that there is a spread of the anthrax. That is Bacillus anthrax has been spread, or it has been or it takes time to identify. No doubt all these conventional techniques are very useful for identification. So, but later on, since we are talking about advancements in microbiology or medical biotechnology or industrial microbiology, then it's online detection systems are also have been developed, and they are very rapid, they're real time, they're highly sensitive. And because of that only, we could identify the COVID vaccine, or we could develop the COVID vaccine because we could identify by the rapid and real time analysis, and which were very highly sensitive. So no doubt it's there, but the presumptive diagnosis can be done until we do not isolate either the bacteria or the virus. We have to, and this is what when the COVID started in March 2020, I was the first person to inform to one of my colleagues in the DRDO. I says, okay, perfect, well, I do at the earliest possible that we should be able to detect that virus. Which is when we can detect the virus, you should culture it, and then by synthetic methodology or synthetic genes sequencing, you should be able to isolate, make it, and see how best we can work out with the detection system, because we need to detect it in large number of people. Because blood samples, whenever it's being detected, we should be able to detect it in the less possible time. By synthetic gene methodology, we can because sometimes actual virus was difficult. From where to get the actual virus, COVID virus, it was difficult. But synthetic gene methods, we can always make the virus sequencing, we can do it, and then on that basis, we can develop the diagnostics or detection techniques. And then sometimes for isolation takes days to weeks. I think the Dr. Anil Prakash and as well as the Professor Deshmukh may be knowing that sometimes it's very easy, but it takes weeks together to identify the actual bacteria and virus. And then confirmation need to be done by biochemical characterization, by immunological assays, by the molecular assays, and online detection systems. But what are the limitations? I will take not more time in order to give the overview on what has been discussed and what need to be understood by the students in this workshop comes hands-on training. The limitations, what I have talked so far, is there's the gold standard. Sometimes gold standards in diagnosis of infectious disease is not available. So it means we have to develop the methods from the scratch, from the beginning itself. When if the gold standard is available, then the detection or diagnostic becomes very fast. Then require intact live organism, which I mentioned that it takes from days to weeks. And sometimes the identification is not correct because there are so many strains are there. Even COVID have got a large number of strains, and which particular strain is more the causative agent for the particular disease, difficult to identify. So to live organism, then that's what I am talking about. That is synthetic gene methodology. We can have the sequencing of the particular bacteria or virus and can develop the diagnostic system. Collection and transportation is very critical. And because they're all deadly, so it means you have to take all possible precautions. And maintenance of cold chain, this is what was realized. And then Government of India, Honorable Prime Minister, sanctioned large amount of funds, particularly for the cold chain, to develop a cold chain, because in COVID-19 cases also, from whatever the Covishield or Covaxin, or even the whatever we were getting from the Russia, the first important requirement was that we should have the cold chain, and then we should be able to maintain it, because it requires very low temperature to maintain either the virus or the vaccine, which we normally develop or have been developed. And then there's high risk involved, because safety is a very important aspect of it. If the person concerned, who himself is handling, who is transporting, who is collecting the samples, may get infected, and then chances. And this is what happened in case of Wuhan labs, that no doubt it was not declared, it was not told to the public at large or the world at large, that some of the scientists, those who were involved, they were also got affected, and few of the scientists, they also died later on. And moreover, the limitation is, in the case of organism isolation, it's a tedious and time consuming. Now, why at all we go for diagnostic? What is the importance? What is whenever this endemic or pandemic starts, then immediately the most important requirement that we should be able to diagnose it first. So there is two methodologies are there. First of all, we normally diagnose, just warn. That is on-site, the early warning system, that, okay, this type of disease spread. Take an example of COVID-19. So the emphasis was in the first few months was that we should be able to detect what exactly is the COVID-19, because the Wuhan lab or the China did not disclose everything. And it came much later. No doubt it was December 19 or November 19. This disease was known, it was start spreading. But in India, we came to know in the month of March. So it means early warning was the component which was missing. If the early warning would have been there, chances are there the infrastructure, the facilities, or the preventive measures would have developed. Then another is that we are doing the diagnosis for the treatment. This component came much later, and because there was a gap between, that is, early warning systems and the medical treatment, that's why so many casualties or so many mortalities happened because of this one. So it means it is very important for to develop the advanced technique in medical biology or medical biotechnology or through bioinformatics. We need, or industrial microbiology, we need to have the diagnostic systems well in place, and then it should be very sensitive, it should be very specific, it should be very rapid, and at the same time affordable. And then the next step should be, then after detecting, how to go for the therapeutic aspect of it. Now, there are two things are there. That is called offsite. Offsite, the detection techniques or the diagnostic techniques. One is offsite, and another is onsite. Onsite, right now, it's very difficult, particularly in our Indian scenarios. But some of the advanced countries or developed countries have already developed the on-site detection systems, instruments, which normally take the sample there itself, do the analysis, do the extraction, isolation, concentration, amplifications, and then the result is being given. But they're all very costly equipments and instruments. And I think they say what I should say, right now there's a big gap. Whatever the information is available with respect to on-site analysis and with respect to the laboratory analysis, which we normally do it. So what are the tests available? I think for the benefit of all the persons, those who are doing, no doubt in the last 4 or 5 days, they would have learned, or it have been told, or it have been covered by the various experts during the talk or hands-on training, that immunological tests, that is, which is based on antigen antibody based, that like IgGM, ELISA, and ELISA also can be of 4 types. That is a direct ELISA, indirect ELISA, competitive ELISA, as well as the sandwich ELISA. So these are the different kind of ELISA which normally is being used for the development of antibody. Now, antibody develop only when antigen goes inside the body system. Antigen is nothing but here we are talking about the bacteria or virus. They produce toxins. When they produce toxins, our immune system develop the antibodies which can be detected by immunological. That's called antigen antibody based detection system. Similarly, antigen capture ELISA is also there, and then ICT. ICT is very popular. I think all of you know that it's being used directly, spot test. or which normally is also being used by quite a few the laboratories, or the even like the urine test you can do it, or the pregnancy test, which normally is based on the flow through ICT, and that's ion chromatography test, which is purely based on antigen antibody, because antibody which are being produced is being detected because antigen is already coated on the ion chromatography plate or the paper itself. That's true. Then another is the molecular, that is called a gene based, and gene based is now PCR. Other day I was listening to one of the talk, I think in the inauguration itself, it's also the professor or the director of AIIMS Bhopal was mentioning that people were not aware of some of the techniques, molecular techniques. They were talking that, for example, the PCR. Somebody was talking that is the police control or vehicle or reporting something, that they were confusing with the police system. That PCR, which normally being used by the police as a surveillance vehicle, but it is not. It's a polymerase chain reaction. That PCR is a machine which normally detect have got a molecular gene-based detection system, that is called a DNA, which normally is being detected by the machine. That's multiplex PCR. The multiplex PCR means large number of the samples can be handled by this machine. It's not only single sample, but large samples can be done. Then real-time PCRs, then LAMP, that is loop mediated isothermal amplification assay, which was developed by a technique. And there are one more technique which has come latest is RT-LAMP, that is reverse transcriptase, the loop mediated isothermal amplification assay. So these are the immunodiagnostics techniques which I told. And the advantage in this case, no doubt there are serological testing are there, but the advantage in they're highly specific. And antibodies, for example, if I talk about little bit information, I give you that polyclonal antibodies, the monoclonal antibodies. So as far as polyclonal antibodies, they are more sensitive but less specific, whereas monoclonal is very specific and less sensitive. So normally most of the tests which are being developed, which are antibody based, is based on polyclonal antibodies, because polyclonal antibodies easy to develop and develop the test also. In case of monoclonal antibodies, very costly, very expensive, and then it takes a long time to isolate in a very pure form. And as far as immunodiagnostic is concerned, I have already told you some of the techniques are there, which all of you would have understood by now. That is called ELISA. I told you the 4 types of ELISAs are there. Then it's called IFT, that immunofluorescence test, also being used for the detection of antigen. Then is called RIA, that is radioimmunoassay, that's also being used for the detection of antigen. Antigen I'm talking about particularly the bacteria or the antigen which are being produced by bacteria or virus inside the body system. Then Western blotting, the flow cytometry, and ICT I have already explained, that is the ion chromatographic test developed for the antibodies. Now, why I am all these things I think would have been discussed. And these methodology are some of the ELISA, which I was mentioning, that 4 types of ELISA, they're field-based. They're useful for routine diagnosis as a screening systems, visualization of results by the naked eye in the form of a brown colored dot, that's called a spot test also. And in this case, nitrocellulose membrane is being used as a solid phase, and normally the chromatography is being run. An indicator in these cases, the insoluble substrate, which normally give the color. And why the ICT is very popular in some of the diagnosis is sometimes people are using it for malaria, people are using for typhoid, people are using for various kind of the viral as well as bacterial disease, because it's rapid. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. It's easy to perform, so no training is required. And 1 microliter of serum is good enough to give the test. So you take out, just prick it on your the finger, whatever the blood samples you take it, put it on the ICT plate or ICT paper, then the result will be known within 5 to 30 minutes maximum I'm talking, but I think it's a few minutes only. No cross reactivity is being observed. It is not very expensive, and evaluation can be done by an untrained person also. It can be done. So these are the advantages of the ion chromatographic techniques. And I will not go into the details of immunofluorescence techniques as well as but at the same time, it does not mean that all the serological testing, whatever I talked about over the techniques, they are very good. They have got certain limitations also. They are first of all, the first important limitation is they're retrospective and probable and not definitive. it gives, okay, there's a possibility that you are getting infected with this kind of bacteria. It requires confirmation. So when it requires confirmation, so now most of the people, they are thinking, let us go directly on the highly sensitive techniques, which is normally the molecular based technique, rather than going on the serological diagnosis, because it gives them only the probability that probability is there that you are getting infected or you have been infected by particular viral disease or this one. Then extensive antigenic cross reactivity is also being observed, and some false positivity is one of the negative or the minus points which are there. And because of that molecular technique, which are PCR, real-time DNA, RNA probe, the fingerprinting, the proteomics, 2-del electrophoresis sequencing, and the PEFG electrophoresis has come. Now, these techniques, why this is important? Because this was helpful in the development of the vaccine candidate. In case of, take an example of COVID, because this is very popular and most of the students may be knowing that different kind of vaccines which are being developed as of now, because we could do the identification of the virus, we could develop the sequencing, we could establish the structure of the viral virus itself, and then it was easy, or I should not say easy, but I think it facilitated the developers or the vaccine producers that, okay, what are the different kind of vaccine which can develop? Let's say 4 or 5 kind of vaccines are available, which are, you can say, inactivated coronavirus, subunit vaccine, DNA vaccines, RNA vaccines, which is also mRNA based, and the viral vector based vaccines have been developed by various vaccine developers, and then everybody is claiming that they are more than 80 to 90% very effective or sensitive. So, all these things would have been told. I will not go into much of more the details. These are the things which I thought of covering. I'm sure the workshop come training would have helped in a very big way. All the students would have got benefited, and the exposure which they have got by doing the experiment by hand in the laboratory would have definitely learned how to go about it, how to do the diagnosis, how to do the testing. And I'm sure that workshop on advanced technique in molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics would have been very useful, and all the students would have got benefited in a very great way. But only one plus point which I like to tell you, or one word of caution, that you have to practice time and again whenever you get the opportunity, read more. And so that, because every day there's a new development which is taking place in the techniques and methodology. And I sincerely hope and wish that this workshop comes hands-on training would have benefited large number of students, those who are attending, not only the students but also the faculty members, because sometimes orientation of the faculty members are also required, that what kind of facilities, what kind of infrastructure or test is being done for the various kind of bacterial disease or viral disease. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you, and whatever little information was there with me, I could share it with you, because I could not talk in much details about the techniques, which I think you would have covered in the workshop in the last few days with hands-on training. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you very much, sir, for addressing the session and enlightening us with such detailed and informative discussion on microbiology, immunology, ICT, IFT, and various other health parameters. It's always a pleasure to work under your able guidance, sir. May I now request Professor Dr. Arvind Deshmukh to kindly say a few words. I feel immense pleasure to introduce you, Professor Dr. Arvind Madharao Deshmukh. Professor Dr. Arvind Madharao Deshmukh is a professor and head of the Department of Microbiology, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. Dr. Deshmukh has completed his graduation in 1976, master's in 1978 from Marathwada University, Aurangabad, and PhD in 1988 from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, on studies on soil actinomycetes of Karad Taluka. Dr. Deshmukh has more than 31 years of teaching experience. He is a member of more than 90 national and international academic and research organizations. He has received fellowship from Biotech Research Society of India, has awarded a fellowship in 2005. He is president of Microbiologist Society India, member of Governing Council of Biotech Research Society of India. He has guided several PhD scholars. He is a journal editor of several international and national journals. He has written several books, book chapters, and more than 80 research publications. He served as a principal investigator of the several research projects. Please, sir, I request you to kindly say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pallavi ma'am, for introducing me on this beautiful occasion. I'm using the word beautiful. The reason is that today, after the completion of third international workshop, come hands-on training on advanced techniques in molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics. All these topics are highly essential nowadays. Even teacher like me, we learn nothing of these during my college days. All these techniques are very, very recent techniques. And all researchers like me, senior researchers also, must update their knowledge. Yesterday only, Dr. Manish Kumar was discussing with me, and he has told me in bioinformatics, various topics he taught to the students, right from modeling, docking, you see, all these are very, very recent. Not only recent, they are essential for every individual. So all the students, they might have enjoyed the feast of sweet dishes of molecular biology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics and other topics. So really, I congratulate all these students, subject to the condition whether they have attended it sincerely or not. Because for all these days, for 1 week, if you attend it sincerely, take down the notes, this knowledge is enough for you, for your future. And that's why I congratulate the students, not only to the students, I congratulate Amity Institute of Biotechnology, Dr. Tomar, Dr. Manish Kumar, and Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor for creating good academic environment in the institute so that you are successful in organizing this event. Now, Dr. Manish Kumar has told me on the same day, that is today, we are inaugurating Microbiologist Society Student Unit. Dr. Manish Kumar will give details about the Microbiology Society. And let me tell you in short that Microbiology Society, established in 1996, it is working throughout the India, out of the India, at every level. Every level meaning is that from school going children, college students, young researchers, and the research senior researchers, which are more than 65 years age, where we have various awards. And one of the award is Senior Scientist Award and a Lifetime Microbiology Devotion Award. In addition to that, we are organizing various national and international conferences. Every year we are organizing one international conference out of India, and I'm very proud to tell all of you, we organize conference in USA. It was a challenge, but 1 year we organized an international conference in Florida, USA. In addition to that, we are inspiring the student, and I'm really happy to know that Dr. Tomar and Dr. Manish Kumar, really they have taken keen interest for inspiring the student. We are organizing various activities, like one activity I would like to tell you, Rangoli exhibition. And what Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor just told about the immunology, PCR and everything. The topic for our Rangoli exhibition was immunology. So our students, more than 8,000 students of India, exhibited Rangoli exhibition, participated in Rangoli exhibition. And they enjoyed literally the science and arts combination together. Like that, we are doing many and many activities. At present, more than 12,000 students of India are studying microbiology and biotechnology. They are in our Telegram group, closely associated, closely watching the activity of Microbiology Society. I know that today's workshop also, why for you have arranged workshop? The reason is that to train the brain of India, because we want to develop the India. Bio innovation, bio startup. So BIRAC, all these are required to start the biotechnology business in India. So whenever anyone wants to start a biotech business in India, he or she should be trained, updated with the recent knowledge, recent techniques. And today, you have achieved it. Indirectly, you have served India. For serving the India, everyone should not go to Delhi only. You can serve India at your place, and you did it. Microbiology Society is also believing on two things. One on microbiology / biotechnology, and second, we believe on India. So via microbiology and biotechnology, we should serve the nation. We should serve the human being. So literally, I am very happy. Not only calling me here for a reason that you have called me here and permitted me to put forward my thinking, that is regarding the microbiology or biotechnology. But I am more happy that your institute is doing very, very well for training the students, for updating the students with the recent knowledge. As a president of Microbiology Society, I'm always with you. As Dr. Anil Prakash, he is closely associated with me from 10 years. So all of us are with your institute. We'll support you morally, not only morally, financially also, we are ready to support you. So today, I take an opportunity to congratulate you for this best event and arranging this validatory function after completion of the hands-on training program. So again, I'm thankful to you and go ahead. Microbiology Society is with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and information about MSI. Now, moving to session for inauguration of MSI, Microbiologist Society India Student Unit, organized by Amity Institute of Biotechnology in association with Microbiologist Society India MP Unit. For the same, I request Dr. Manish Kumar, Assistant Professor, Amity Institute of Biotechnology, as MP State President, Microbiologist Society India, to give a brief introduction about the society.
Hello.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Dr. MP Kaushik, Director AIB and Dean Academics, AMP, Professor Dr. R.S. Tomar, Chief Guest of the function, Professor A.M. Deshmukh, All India President MSI, and special guest, Professor Anil Prakash, National Coordinator MSI. It's indeed my pleasure to introduce about Microbiology Society India. Microbiology Society India is a registered non-government organization working at national and international level in promoting microbiology. MSI was established in March 1996 and registered in November 1996 in Satara, Maharashtra, India. The society was incepted to introduce the important science of microbiology at all levels of education, with schools, colleges, and universities. This encourages research in the field of microbiology as well as take it to the consumers, whether it is the field of agriculture, medicine, food, fermentation, and all other microbiology-based industries. The society has got major support from Government of Maharashtra, DST, DBT, CPCB, INSA, CSIR, and other private organizations. The society has several objectives and it has been instrumental in popularizing microbiology all over the world. It is spreading its wings not only to states of the country, but has already established branches in Mauritius, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bhutan, and Dubai by organizing conferences in these countries. The society has always given top priority to students who are the future of microbiology. An MSI task force was established to combat pandemic in Madhya Pradesh last year. MSI is arranging a student exchange program amongst our countries also. Society has organized several national and international webinar conferences in microbiology. The society is joining hands with reputed centers by acting as a bridge between the scientists and the students for acquiring practical knowledges also. The society is giving different awards like best department, best teachers, best students, best research paper, best PhD thesis, and lifetime microbiology devotion award too. The Microbiology Society has about 300 life members right now. Students can take membership of the society in just 100 rupees per year. Through the Telegram link, already most of our students have joined Telegram group of students, in which currently more than 1,500 students are members from all over world. There was another student group on Telegram that is already filled up with more than 9,500 students currently. And this is the part of mobile learning, you can say. The society has about 150 students unit in India and abroad. The information of job opportunities, seminars, conferences, workshops, training in microbiology is given in the group. Now I'm going to announce the core committee of the student unit of Microbiology Society India at MIT Institute of Biotechnology is as mentioned. Faculty coordinator, Dr. Neha Sharma. She is right now a life member of MSI. Student president, Ms. Tanya Tomar from BSc Honors Biotechnology third semester. Secretary MS Revant, BTech Biotechnology third semester. Treasurer Karista Sharma, BTech Biotechnology third semester. Joint Secretary Ishita Pandey, BTech Biotechnology third semester. Joint Treasurer Lisa Bhadauria, BSc Honors Biotechnology third semester. Because microbiology is the integral part of biotechnology, I am sure the students will benefit by being part of MSI to shape their future. We are grateful to our All India President MSI, Professor A.M. Deshmukh sir, National Coordinator Professor Anil Prakash sir, and central team to extend the student welfare to the point of apex. And thank you very much for your patience and hearing me. Thank you very much. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Pro Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. MP Kaushik, today's chief guest, Professor Dr. A.M. Deshmukh, All India President, MSI, special guest, Professor Dr. Anil Prakash, HOD, Microbiology Department, Barkatullah University, and National Coordinator, MSI, Director AIB and Dean Academics, Professor Dr. R.S. Tomar, and AIB Coordinator, Professor Dr. Vikas Srivastav, kindly inaugurate the student unit of Microbiology Society India.
So we have to press the button.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Now I request to Professor Dr. Anil Prakash, sir, to say a few words.
Okay, thank you. And good morning to all of you. Thank you, Neha Sharma. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for opening of a unit in student unit in MIT University, particularly the Dr. Tomar, Dean Life Sciences, and also thankful to Professor Dr. MP Kaushik, Pro Vice Chancellor of the MIT University, and particularly Manish Kumar, who is the president of this MSI, state president, for opening this student unit in MIT University. A long back, I talked to when I visited the MIT University when Dr. Tomar called me for some PhD viva. At that time, I requested Dr. Tomar to take an initiative to open this state MIT student unit in your campus. So because of this COVID-19, it takes long time to open it. But anyway, the time doesn't mean that we can open anytime, but it will be beneficial to the students also. So today I am very happy that you are also having a valedictory function of a third national workshop you have organized, and that is also hands-on training on advances in tech and techniques on molecular, industrial, and all kind of microbiological aspects. So I must congratulate all the organizers. And as Professor MP Kaushik, Professor, has very well said about this isolation and identification. It is very essential for the point of view when we are talking about the or dealing with the microorganism. Unless until we don't know what kind of a microorganism is that, and previously I know very well when Professor Kaushik and myself, I think we have done at the same year, we have done the MSc in 1977, and at that time also I have done it my master's degree in 1977 from Bhopal University and from microbiology department. And I visited the DRDO, long means when in 1985 and 86 like that. So, and at that time, because at that time there is nothing much more. We have to identify the microorganism by making the slides, and we have to see under the microscope. We don't have any molecular tools at that time. So now, with the development of this DNA technology, because of the we can say, means thanks, or we can just father of this Watson Crick, who have made this, we know about the structure of the DNA. And then after that, we can come to know so many things about the molecular biology. So with the development of this molecular biology, we, the identification point of view, it is very well, it's very, I can say, it is very easy to identify the microorganism. And when we are studying about the Burgess manual or other things, so at that time only 10 orders were there, but now with the development of this molecular biology, there are a number of the orders is there, and also there are some more, I think 50 to 80% species has changed their names, and because of this molecular techniques. So with the development of these techniques, we are now very well identify the microorganism, and after identification, we can easily understand what kind of the product, what kind of diseases they will cause, because Professor Kaushik also mentioned about the Koch postulate. So it is very, means at that time he has done a discovery of that one. That's why he knows of the father of this disease. So now still we are using and we are doing the Koch postulate, and we don't, means with the help of that one, we can understand and we can identify the microorganism. Secondly, I can say about that, as I mentioned about the PCR, because everybody is known as a PCR van of the police. But as well said by Professor Dr. Kaushik, that it is a polymerase chain reaction. So now it is very well developed about this RT-PCR, real-time PCR is there. Number of these things is now coming, and we have to, particularly those who are students and they are want to go in this field of biotechnology or molecular biology, they should read every day, because every day a new invention is there. As one of my, means I can say the colleague and means junior colleague, and when I was doing the PhD, he was in the MSc. Now he is in the United States. They have developed a machine about for the COVID-19, and that they test about 50,000 tests. We can means they can recognize whether the patient is suffering from the COVID or not. 50,000 tests within a 24 hours, like that machine they have developed. It is a costing about 5 crore rupees or like that. So they are working in that direction. So my point is that every time a new thing is coming out because of the development of the physics and chemistry. Biology is still there, but with the help of this physics and chemistry, we understand a lot of things, how the microorganism behaving, the behavior of the microorganism, and what are the products they are releasing in the nature. So that is really very important, and we have to understand the thing. Now, I will not take much of your time because there are a number of other speakers may be there. I must congratulate the Professor Dr. Tomar, Professor Kaushik, Manish, and others, the student union, the president, secretary, and the treasurer, and other members of the student union. And I request them, they should work very hard for they make an awareness about the microbiology subject in their means Gwalior and other means part of the nearby parts of the Gwalior. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your continuous support and kind words. Now, I request Professor Dr. R.S. Tomar, convener of Third National Workshop, come hands-on training on advanced techniques in molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics. Kindly give concluding remarks.
Good morning, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. A.M. Deshmukh, the President of MSI, Dr. Anil Prakash ji, Professor in Barkatullah University, Bhopal, all my colleagues, participants, and the students from Amity Institute of Biotechnology and other institutes of India. Today, this is a very memorable day for all of us because it's not only the validity function of 7-day national workshop, but it is accompanied by another event, and that has become more and more important today on this particular end of 7-day workshop. So ending of something is actually giving a happy moment for all of us with the beginning of something new. This 7-day national workshop comments on training on advanced techniques in molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics was organized by us from 21st to 27th October 2021. On very first day of the workshop, on 21st October 2021, the workshop was inaugurated by lighting the lamp and Saraswati Vandana in the presence of Chief Guest Professor Dr. Sarman Singh, who is Director of AIIMS Bhopal. And the speaker of this particular session was Professor Dr. Vikas Jain from IESER Bhopal. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Amity University Madhya Pradesh, Lieutenant V.K. Sharma, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. M.P. Kaushik, and myself as workshop convener, along with all the participants and students, inaugurated this. Total 42 participants from different institutes of India, they actually participated in this, they registered themselves for this. Otherwise, something around 142 participants were there since the beginning. During the session, Chief Guest Professor Dr. Sarman Singh, Director AIIMS Bhopal, explained the paradigm shift in molecular biology and tools, along with the latest developments due to automation. Afterwards, the laboratory manual of the national workshop was released by the distinguished guests and dignitaries. The speaker, Dr. Vikas Jain, he spoke very well on a very important topic that was on molecular biology for methods and tools. And on this occasion, I, as the convener of the national workshop, informed about the contents of the workshop and workshop program and proposed vote of thanks for the inaugural session. So this was about day one. In short, on the first day of the program, the participants learned about molecular biology-based techniques along with theoretical and practical aspects. The hands-on training session was live streamed and coordinated by Dr. Raghavendra Kumar Mishra and Dr. Rahul Saxena from AIB AUMP. On the second day, that is on 22nd October 2021, an expert lecture was delivered by Dr. Jyoti Srivastav. She is a professor in GRMC Gwalior in the session Medical Biotechnology. Dr. Jyoti delivered an expert lecture on laboratory diagnosis of COVID-19 that is already ongoing. And afterward, the participants were given hands-on training on dot ELISA and immunoelectrophoresis, besides optimization of PCR conditions using gradient PCR. During post-lunch session, online demonstration of optimization of PCR conditions using gradient PCR was also done. The hands-on training session was coordinated by Dr. Neha Sharma, Dr. Anurag Jyoti, and Dr. Asa Singh. On third day of the workshop, that is on 23rd October 2021, there were two lectures. One was from Dr. Pratishtha Dwivedi, another was from internal one, Dr. Vikas Srivastav. Dr. Pratishtha Dwivedi, she has been with us till 2019, I think 2020. And after that, she left because she got selected in government college, but she was having good command on the genomics and proteomics. So she was invited to deliver a lecture for the students, and she spoke very well on the reverse vaccinology, bridging the gap in vaccine design and development. Dr. Vikas also gave an important lecture, and this lecture was in this field of medical biotechnology, which was emphasized by him on the utilization of industrially important microbes along with the recovery of valuable products from them. And he gave hands-on demonstration also in that. Day 4, that is 24th of this month, that was Sunday, it was kept as self-preparation and revision day for the participants. So there was no such activity of lecture and hands-on training. But on day 5, that is on 5th day of the workshop, that is on 25th October 2021, an expert lecture was delivered by Dr. Mithilesh Jaiswal, who is senior scientist in Tropilite Foods Private Limited Gwalior, and he spoke in the session Industrial Biotechnology. Dr. Jaiswal delivered an expert lecture on role of probiotics and symbiotics in the health and career builder. So this was a very important lecture in today's context when we are using a lot of antibiotics. to overcome the problem of COVID-19. And there are so many side effects also there. But these side effects, how we can overcome, nobody is telling us. There are various herbal or some other sort of things are coming to the market, Ayurvedic sense I'm talking. But how much relief we are getting, only the sufferers know. But this particular lecture was very motivating and encouraging for all of us, that how these microflora, that is in the form of bacteria in our gut, that also killed with antibiotics. So how we can overcome with this? This can be done by supplementing those bacteria by taking them orally. So that concept of probiotics and symbiotics is growing very fast in today's world, and I think it can be helpful in overcoming the side effects of the COVID-19. And then after this, one lecture was delivered by our own faculty, Dr. Manish. He spoke about the isolation and characterization of industrial important microbes. During his lecture, the characterization and identification of microbes was elaborated, and he saw the online videos also. In the post-lunch session, online demonstration was also given, and this demonstration was on upstreaming and downstreaming processes, which were given by Dr. Vikas Srivastava. And the session was industrial biotechnology, which was actually coordinated by Dr. Vikas and Dr. Manish Kumar and Dr. Palviji. Day 6 was actually devoted for the lecture from a professor from Narmada University, Gujarat, and in Surat. So he actually gave a lecture on bioinformatics lab and supercomputing facility. And that lecture was actually, that was his department actually. And he spoke on the concept, tools and techniques for in silico drug discovery. Furthermore, in this session, the online demonstration of bioinformatics tools for phylogenetic analysis, protein homology modeling, and protein ligand docking was conducted by Dr. Manish Kumar of AIB AOMP, and also assisted by Dr. Neha Sharma, who actually gave the different kind of approach that was on the protein ligand docking by IgM software, that is with the immunoinformatics based on that. And today, we all know that it is the validity day today. So today is 7th day when we are here for validity function of Third National Workshop. This has become a really memorable day for all of us when we saw the end of workshop and beginning of student unit of Microbiology Society India. I am very much thankful to Professor Dr. A.M. Deshmukh and Dr. Anil Prakash for giving us this chance, to giving us opportunity to open a unit here. As mentioned by Dr. Anil Prakash, he actually was here, I think 2 years back, when he was conducting as a Viva Voce of an expert, or as expert of a PhD scholar, Dr. Arun. Now he's Dr. Arun. He was our student. And during that time, I think he discussed with me about it. But after that, there was lockdown of about 1.5 years, so we could not progress in that direction. So we were forced to do this online. But anyhow, sir, could do it. So I'm really thankful to all of you, especially our Pro Vice Chancellor also, because he is here presiding over this particular function. And he has guided us in the beginning. And because of his support and guidance, we could be able to accomplish this task. And really, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor Dr. Vikas Srivastava to give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Neha. As we all know that this is our third national workshop come hands-on training on advanced techniques in molecular biology, medical biotechnology, industrial microbiology, and bioinformatics, which has been successfully organized by MIT Institute of Biotechnology. On this great occasion, I really feel privileged to propose official vote of thanks. On behalf of organizing committee of Third National Workshop, first of all, I am thankful to Professor A.M. Deshmukh, chief guest of the valedictory session, for accepting our invitation. I am also thankful to the special guest, Professor Anil Prakash, for gracing the event. I am also grateful to chief guest of inaugural session, Professor Dr. Sarman Singh, Director AIIMS Bhopal, and all the speakers of the workshop, Professor Vikas Jain, Dr. Jyoti Priyadarshini, Dr. Pratishtha Dwivedi, Dr. Mithilesh Jaiswal, and Professor Rajesh Patel, who have spared their valuable time from their busy schedule to share their knowledge and such experiences with us. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Lieutenant General V.K. Sharma, AVSM, for providing constant support and motivations. I express my sincere thanks to Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor M.P. Kaushik, for his constant guidance and valuable suggestions. I am also thankful to Director Administration, Colonel Sethi, for administrative support. I would also like to thank all the directors, HOI registrars for gracing the occasions with their presence. I am also thankful to Team ESCO for media coverage. I am grateful to IT team of Gwalior campus and a central team of Noida for providing continuous and hassle-free IT support throughout the event. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants from different universities and institutions for their participation to make this event success. I am also thankful to our own students who have supported the workshop at various levels. I am grateful to convener of Third National Workshop Come Hands-on Training, our Director Sir, and Dean Academics AUMP Professor R.S. Tomar Sir for his continuous guidance, motivation, and constant support to keep the hard work. I am also thankful to Team AIB, Dr. Raghavendra Kumar Mishra, Dr. Raghavendra Saxena, Dr. Neha Sharma, Dr. Anurag Jyoti, Dr. Manish Kumar, Dr. Pallavi Singh, Dr. Asa Singh, Dr. Suren Singh Parihar, and Ms. Soni Bhadoria for conducting various training sessions. In last, I am also thankful to Mr. Dharamveer Singh for office support and all. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all.